Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Hingham Sports Tonight. I'm your host, Andrew Rubino. Tonight's show will chronicle all things Hingham sports with the fall seasons. This past fall season had many great achievements, and none better than the girls' varsity soccer team with the capturing of their second straight Division II state title. This past Saturday, the girls beat Concord Carlisle, but before I get to the details of that game, I want to chronicle how they got to that point. Their season started off with their playoff run started off with a great 5-0 victory over Plymouth High School, and then moved on to the next round against Scituate and beat them 2-0. Two somewhat easy victories for the girls then led into a Veterans Day matchup with the Duxbury Dragons. Duxbury is a very talented team and had previously beaten Hingham twice before they met, and for the third time on a very cold day with a huge Hingham fan base to back them up in Quincy where they took on Duxbury. The game went into double overtime where Caroline Harkins sealed the victory with a very crafty goal. It was a great game, hard fought, but the girls did move on to their next game against Notre Dame Academy of Hingham. My cameraman Cameron Leduc and I wanted to go behind the scenes and see the girls' preparation for their game against Notre Dame, since it was the D2 South state championship, and we wanted to see how they prepared. So we got to talk to the three captains, Katie Sullivan, Kelly Morrissey, and Amy Kirk, about their mindsets heading into the game, as well as get some background on the team. Kelly Morrissey, starting midfielder for the girls. Kelly, as a leader of the offense among the three captains, what's your job like during the game, especially as you guys get further in the playoffs in these intense games?
I think it's really important that we keep motivating each other, and honestly, it helps a lot for every time that we cheer each other on and help motivate each other to win the 50-50 balls. It makes the game a lot easier.
Good to hear. Here with goalie Amy Kirk. Amy, you've had a couple shutouts so far in the playoffs. How are you going to keep this up going into the game Monday?
I think just communicating with all the other players on the field, making sure we're all on the same page. Keep the shutouts.
Good. And last but not least, Katie Sullivan. Katie is definitely the motivator of the team. So, Katie, what are you going to do to motivate the girls before this game Monday?
We usually just try to stress, never giving up until the last minute, and I think it shows, at the end of the game, everyone's going to win. You just have to keep forward.
Good stuff. All right, thanks, guys. The girls obviously had some momentum from their victory over Duxbury, and you could tell they were had some great attitudes moving into the game against Notre Dame. Let's check out the highlights of the game, which was the Division II South Championship. It was early in the first half when Hingham had their first real chance. Eve Hewins came down the left side with a nice ball, but the NDA goalie did save it. Emma Burley then put Hingham up 1-0 with this great free kick from about 25 yards out. Hingham defenseman and captain Katie Sullivan had a great game for the girls with some very consistent play, including this play here on an NDA attacker. Hingham led 1-0 at the half. Amy Kirk had a very solid game in net with two stellar saves in the second half. This one right here was my favorite. The girl NDA would respond, and after this tap-in goal, the girls tied the game. But the game would go into overtime, and Eve Hewins and Kelly Morrissey, as well as Caroline Harkins, had some great passing. Eve with this shot right on the net, set up perfectly for Caroline Harkins to send the girls back to the state title for the second year in a row. The Hingham crowd was very into the game. The girls went nuts, and it was a great experience for everybody involved in the community to see the exciting game. After the girls' victory over NDA, the girls headed into the Division II state title against Concord Carlisle this past Saturday in Lynn, Mass. The girls had a huge crowd behind them, and the crowd, as well as their hard work throughout the season, paid off with a 3-0 victory over Concord Carlisle. Caroline Harkins had 2 goals for the girls, as well as Kira McGuire, who added a goal. Caroline was definitely the star offensive player for the girls, with her 2 overtime goals out of their 5 games that they played, as well as her 2 goals in the state title. But I really want to talk about their defense. Amy Kirk with some amazing goal keeping this playoff run, as well as the 4 defensemen who started all 5 games for the girls. Katie Sullivan, the captain I talked to earlier, as well as 3 junior defensemen, Emma Burley, Kate Groskoff, and Jamie Clardy. All 4 girls, as well as Amy as the 5th, obviously the last line of defense as the goalie, really led the charge throughout the playoffs. Letting up only 1 girl is incredible, and hats off to them for a great job. The girls team had their ups and downs this past season. They started off with some high expectations coming off their D2 state title last year. Came into the season, had a couple of just mediocre games, but really found their stride heading into the playoffs. That obviously paid off with their 2nd straight state title. So congrats to Coach Pontieri and all the girls on a great run. It's amazing to see back-to-back state titles, but maybe next year we'll be in the same position because the team's only losing 4 seniors, and with some great depth on the team this year, Coach Pontieri looks to fill the roles with their great young talent. So congrats, girls, on some great soccer. I want to transition to boys soccer now and highlight their successful season. The boys came in 2nd in the Patriot League and also ended up winning a playoff game. They won their first playoff game against Bristol Plymouth Regional High School in the first round, and then moved on to play Oliver Ames. Oliver Ames has become their rival over the past couple of years, having a couple playoff games against them. They played Oliver Ames, and the game was 2-2 and needed 2 overtimes to decide. Unfortunately, a controversial goal ended up knocking Hingham out of the playoffs. The boys should not hang their heads low because Oliver Ames did end up winning the Division II state title. So our guys at Hingham should be very proud of their efforts against a very good team, as well as a successful season. So congrats to all the seniors on their hard work, as well as the 2 captains, Brendan Lahiff and Jack Noonan, who led the charge throughout the season. Now on to some football. At the closing of last Hingham Sports Tonight episode, the boys were 2-5 heading into a big matchup against Women Hanson. Although they did lose this game to a very high-powered Women Hanson offense, the boys rattled off 3 straight wins the last 3 weeks, with wins over, they beat Oliver Ames, North Quincy, as well as Medfield, making their record 5-5. The boys play tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day at 10 a.m. at Scituate High School. It should be a great turnout, and me personally, I would love to see the seniors get their last victory over their rivals, as well as put their team to a 6-5 margin, which would give them a winning record. The boys, the senior class, really had some ups and downs with a change in coaching staff, a couple losing seasons, but this season the boys found their stride middle of the season, and if they could end on a 4-game winning streak and a huge win on Thanksgiving Day, that would be great. Although I have highlighted the 3 teams so far of the girls soccer team, boys soccer team, and football team, there have been some other great achievements this fall. The boys cross country team won the Eastern Massachusetts Division III championship. The girls field hockey team won a playoff game against Durfee High School, as well as being one of the top teams in the Patriot League. And the dance team won the hip hop division for the state title. So congrats to the girls. It was a very successful fall at Hingham High School, and athletic director Margaret Connolly went as far as to say that this may have been the most successful fall Hingham High has ever had. So congrats to anyone who participated in any sports this past fall, and great work by the whole school, and great work by the fans coming out and cheering on their teams. Well, that's all I have for today, folks. Good luck to the boys football team tomorrow as they take on Scituate. The game's at 10 o'clock. And happy Thanksgiving to all. Have a good evening.